Alright, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we got to do a little update style video on Viserai. We're going to be talking about some of the new cards that we've seen so far in Rosetta. We're going to be talking about some of the spoilers and how it might be improving the list for Viserai, and you know, maybe what kind of direction we can take the list going forward. Okay guys, so that's what we're going to be getting into today. That will be the main bulk, the main theme for today's video. Is just what kind of upgrades can we expect to put into the Viserai deck, because there's quite a few new really good cards that we've seen so far from Rosetta, and there could be some more new ones coming out soon that we don't know about yet. We'll have to see. Not all the cards have been spoiled. Okay, and as usual guys, if you have any comments, questions or suggestions or ideas, by all means do not be afraid to put them down in the comment section below. I will have everything time-stamped in the general description of the video, and any relevant links or any relevant, you know, deck lists or anything like that I'll have in the comment section. So, you know what you're getting into, guys. Let's go ahead and dive straight into this. Let's talk about Viserai, the Runeblood, and I'm going to give you guys kind of like an early idea of the deck that I'll be working on first going into Rosetta. And again, this is with what limited information we have. Who knows if there might be a brand new card that comes out that has not been spoiled yet. That is just going to take this deck to a whole nother level and a whole nother direction. You know, so with all that in mind, you know, taking all of that into consideration, this is just my early thoughts on the Viserai Runeblood deck. So, first things first, I want to make this list not Turtle Burst. I don't want this to be like add up a bunch of rune chants over the course of the entire game and try for an OTK. However, I do want to say that that will probably be a very strong deck list, guys, because we are seeing some cards in here, like Deadwood Dirge, that says destroy an aura you control, and if you do, create 3 rune chants. You're going to be able to combo this beautifully, brilliantly, with a card like Arcane Cussing, that says when you deal or are dealt damage, destroy this. It is a 1-cost aura that says when this leaves the arena, during your turn, create 3 rune chants. So you can play a card like this out, pop it with Deadwood Dirge, and you just got 6 rune chants. And in a deck like Viserai, that's actually 7. If you did that all in one turn, you did a non-attack action, and now you just have to play a Runeblade action afterwards, and boom, you just created 7 rune chants for the turn over 2 cards. Another card to really consider, guys, you might want to really think about. I don't care which direction you're building Viserai. This is just an incredibly powerful card for starting the engine off. Because remember, guys, this effect here, this effect says whenever you play a Runeblade card, ready? If you have played another non-attack action card this turn, you can create a rune chant. So first you just have to play a non-attack action card. It doesn't matter if it's Runeblade or not. And then after you've played a non-attack action card, any Runeblade card you play after that will give you a rune chant for the rest of the turn. Like each one will do that. So in other words, let's just say we play Gorganian Tome. Okay, that has started the first part of Viserai's effect, right? His ability is active. Then let's just say you play out Arcane Cussing. Okay, it does cost 1. You know, it does have a resource cost of 1. You'll play this out, and you're going to create a rune chant just for playing the card. Then let's just say you follow that up with a Deadwood Dirge. You pop the rune chant, making, you know, playing out the Deadwood Dirge. This will create another rune chant. And then, using its effect, you'll destroy the Arcane Cussing and generate 3 more rune chants, okay? And then that, in turn, will create 3 rune chants from the Arcane Cussing as well. Because remember, the Deadwood Dirge creates 3 of its own for destroying an aura, and if you chose the Arcane Cussing we just played, which is an aura, you're going to create 3 more from that as well. So again, just to walk through this, how much you could get from just like a Gorganian Tome plus Deadwood Dirge and Arcane Cussing combination, which is only 1 Dawn, guys. We'll talk about Find All Spring Tunic in a minute. But for 1 Dawn, sorry, guys. That's only 1 resource. I just left a big One Piece tournament, guys. Bear with me. Dawn is the resource in that game. My apologies. But for 1 resource, check this out, guys. You play out Gorganian Tome. You play out Arcane Cussing, which creates 1 rune chant. Then you play out Deadwood Dirge, which creates a 2nd rune chant. And then Deadwood Dirge pops the Arcane Cussing, creating 6 rune chants. So that's 8 rune chants altogether for the turn. And then that was just 1. That only cost you 1 resource. If you can double that up with something else afterwards, you know, maybe like this hit the high notes. Okay, well now you're coming in for 6, if it's a red one, coming in for 6 physical, and those 8 rune chants, 8 arcane. So that is 14 damage. And then, by the way, this hit the high notes will create another rune chant for your next attack. Your next attack. But for this one, coming in for 14. And that was for 2 resources altogether. If we played out Arcane Cussing and we played out Hit the High Notes. So who knows? Maybe in a turn where we dump 4 resources, maybe we pitched a blue Shrill Skull Form. Okay, and then maybe we also have 1 Fyendal Spring Tunic. Imagine how that might look, guys. So again, if we do that, so we swing at them with 8, where they hit the high notes. That was 2 resources, and then we have 2 more floating, right? 1 from the Fyendal Spring Tunic, and 1 from our third resource from the blue card we pitched. You know, in this case, it was Shrill Skull Form. Well, okay, now we can actually finish out the turn with a Nebula Blade, which will be coming in for 5, because remember, it'll pop a rune chant, so 1 arcane and then 4 physical, and then if this hits, that's another rune chant. So in other words, we would be coming in for 6 plus 8 is 14, plus 5 is 19. And then if that hits, 20, right? Because it creates another rune chant, but that will take place on our following turn. So I just want to say that, guys, this new potential here is insane. And guys, if you somehow chained everything I just said along with a Mordred Tide, okay, well now increase that entire turn by 1, 3, 5. Oh gosh, it's way more than that. Hang on. Let's just say it's a perfect turn. Let's say we had a Gorganian Tome in our arsenal, right? Or in our hand. Actually, let's have the Mordred Tide in arsenal, because that makes more sense. Like maybe we saved it and then we top deck a Gorganian Tome, and let's just say, okay, we play out the Gorganian Tome, it draws us into an Arcane Cussing, and then we already had a Deadwood Dirge, a Hit the High Notes, and then a blue action of some sort, like this just Shrill Skull Form, whatever, right? Well, now, like I said, with all that, and let's just say we also have a Fyendal Spring Tunic charge ready to go, on a perfect turn, if you go Mordred Tide, that's going to create 1 rune chant, right? Because we already played out Gorganian Tome. We've already satisfied that clause. Now we create 1 rune chant, right? Mordred Tide's about to create 1 for, double. It's not double. It's going to create an additional 1 for everyone we make from here on. So let's see what we can do with 1 turn. You ready? Okay, so we created 1 from the Mordred Tide. Then we played out Arcane Cussing. Okay, that's going to create 1 plus 1 from our Viserai. So now we're at 3. Then we're going to do a Deadwood Dirge, which is going to create 1 plus 1. So we're at 5. And then that's going to crack the Arcane Cussing to create 6. But each one's going to create an additional 1. Each instance of creating the rune chant will create an additional 1. So it's going to be 8. Because 3 plus 1 and 3 plus 1, 8. So now we're at 13, right? Then we hit the high notes. So 13 plus 6 coming in for damage right now, and it's going to create 2 on the back end of that. Okay? So now we're at 21. And then let's just say, like I said, we finish it off perfectly because we had the blue Shrill Skull Form, and then we come in for 4 more. And if this thing hits, 4 plus 2, excuse me, right? And if this thing right here hits, we create 2 more rune chants. Like, that's like a 30 damage turn. And I understand that's a very high roll. That's where we have a Fyendal Spring Tunic resource available. We hit the perfect blue resource to pitch. And then we had one of these in our arsenal, like between the Mordred Tide, the Deadwood Dirge, the Arcane Cussing, and the Gorganian Tome. And then whatever one we didn't have, we draw with the Gorganian Tome and go from there. And hopefully you guys see what I'm saying. This is just like madness levels of rune chant generation, really coming across 2 cards. It does become a little bit combo-y, so we might have to do things accordingly. But guys, red Arcane Cussing getting cracked by a red Deadwood Dirge, that's 7 rune chants. You have to understand that. I know it's like, no, it's only 6, right? Like, because it gets 3 and then plus 3. It's like, yes, but think about it. If you played Arcane Cussing and then you played Deadwood Dirge, well, guess what? Your leader, okay, or excuse me, your hero is going to create an additional rune chant there. So that is just insane levels of damage. Absolutely insane. Now, I do want to talk about a few other things here. I think we still run Reduce to Rune Chant. I think this is just an incredible defensive reaction. It creates a rune chant. It's probably going to be free most of the time if we're playing the deck accordingly. And it's just, a block 4, so we'll take it. Swarming Gloomveil, just an incredible finisher. It's going to be creating rune chants for us. This card in this deck will probably just be, it's probably just going to be permanently 0 cost, deal 4, blocks 3, has, you know, everything turned on. And then one other card I want to mention. When I did my review of all the cards, guys, when I like went over, let me sit up my seat for this, sorry. Excuse me. When I went over, I just recently went over a bunch of cards. I will link that in the comment section below. This card had not been released just yet, or it came out, I think it came out around the exact same time that I released it, unfortunately, so I missed it. Guys, this card right here, Vantage Point, is gross. I mean, like, in a good way. It is a 3 cost, right? It costs 3, attacks for 7, blocks for 3, and it says if you've played or created an aura this turn, okay, good luck doing that, right? Good luck satisfying that. If you've played or created an aura this turn, this gets overpowered. Yeah, it's going to be pretty easy to satisfy that, I have to say. And you're coming in for 7, and with every single rune chant you had for the turn. So there might be turns coming up here where, think about what we just said. Let's just say we have a turn of Arcane Cussing, Deadwood Dirge, Vantage Point, and a blue, some kind of blue to toss, maybe hit the high notes blue. And here's the thing. So if we have all 4 of those cards, like I said, Arcane Cussing, Deadwood Dirge, hit the high notes blue or Shrill blue, it doesn't matter, just a blue card, and then a Vantage Point and a Fyendal Spring Tunic. Look what we can do, guys. Okay, pop the Fyendal Spring Tunic, or, you know, use the resource for it, I'm saying. Okay, pay 1. Whenever this leaves play, or whenever this leaves the arena during your turn, create 3 rune chants. Okay, follow up with Deadwood Dirge. That's going to create 3 rune chants, plus 3, plus 1 more from Viserai. So we're going to create 7 right there. Now we're going to pitch the blue that we had. Let's just say it was Shrill Skullform or hit the high notes, and attack with Vantage Point. That is going to come in for 7 and 7 with Overpower, and you know, of course, it's going to create a rune chant as well. You know, from our Viserai effect. Guys, just imagine. I mean, I always like to min max and just, you know, imagine like the perfect. Maybe that's something I'll do in like the next video. Like, what if we get just the literal perfect pull? What is the most damage we can do with a Fyendal Spring Tunic, you know, plus 4 cards in an arsenal? What can we pull off? That might be a little bit of fun. Maybe we'll mess with that later. I might mess with that later. But anyway. Because, guys, add Arknight Shard to the mix if we have a Mordred Tide down. Mordred Tide here. And we're talking fireworks, guys. We're talking absolute fireworks. But, yeah, this deck seems like it's going to be pretty solid. This is just a rough draft. Don't worry, this is not finished. If you're like, wait, why aren't you running any yellows, blah, blah, blah. Speaking of which, some yellows I am thinking about. Runeblood Barrier. This with the new Deadwood Dirge. Now, I will say this creates 4 rune chants. And, you know, we can just crack it and get rid of it so we don't have to worry about losing our rune chants. This is kind of like a weaker version of what we're doing than the Arcane Cussing. Because we can just pop this and get 3 for 1, whereas we have to pay 3 for 4. Right? Or hang on, did I say that right? This you have to pay 1 to get 3. The Arcane Barrier, you have to pay 3 to get 4. Or what's it called? It's not Arcane Barrier. Runeblood Barrier, excuse me. So, yes, this card is decent, but at the same time, it's probably not worth running now that we have Arcane Cussing. What else? I will say this. I don't think Arcane Cussing needs to be as like a 9 of in the deck, in the list. Maybe. We'll have to see. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like playing out the blue one is very just whatever. Because if you crack it, yes, it does get a blue. Or excuse me, it does get us a rune chant. But at the same time, it's nothing crazy, I guess. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Whereas the red one and probably the yellow one, okay, creating 2 rune chants if we can crack it, we'll take that every single time. Like, that's actually really solid. Especially if we can create something from Vantage. Like, I think Vantage Point's just going to be insane. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below about this one. I think it's going to be incredible. Now, one thing I do want to eventually mess with and experiment with is like this Looming Doom style build. That's why I have it in this list. Again, this list is not like complete, guys. This is just brainstorming. I'm messing around with cards. So don't think like, oh, why are you running that card with this card or this card with that card? I'm not. This is just a rough draft. Yes, it is a 60-card deck. It's just something I'm messing with. And I want to put out some gameplay, gameplay footage soon. But we got to wait for Talishar to catch up and get all updated and everything. Because I did literally right before making this video, I tried it on Talishar just in a single player version just to see how it would work. And there were still a little bit of issues they're probably working to resolve. We have to be patient and wait for them to do that, of course. Incredible tool for the community. Okay, this is something I want to talk about with Sonata Galaxia. Okay, this costs 1 less to play for each rune chant you control. Search your deck for a Runeblade aura with a cost of X or less, put into the arena, and then shuffle. If X is 2 or more, this gets go again. I think this card's going to be incredible for what we're trying to do, guys. Like I really think it's just going to be so good because we have a lot of auras now, right? I know this one's an aura. Arcane Cussing is an aura. Runeblood Incantation's an aura. I really like Looming Doom. I really want to get this thing to work. I'll talk more about it in a second, but we'll be able to search that up. And then, of course, we have Malefic Incantation. And this is a card that I think is incredible as well for creating rune chants consistently. Because think about this. Like, if we start getting, like, Runeblood Incantations down along with a Malefic Incantation, it becomes like this incantation deck, right? It just becomes this incantation build where it's like, wait a minute, every time, at the beginning of every turn, I'm getting a rune chant, and then every time I attack, I'm creating another rune chant. So it's like I'm just getting this super spaced out value for what I need, and I really like that a lot. And then add Arcane Cussing to the mix, add Deadwood Dirge to the mix, add Sigil of Deadwood to the mix. You see where this is going, right? And Sigil of Deadwood is actually very good in the sense that, number one, it's a blue pitch. I wish it blocked 3, but whatever. It is a blue pitch card, and it has Go Again. It's an aura, so it's searchable if we need it. And at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. And when this leaves the arena, create a rune chant token. So we can always combo this with the Deadwood Dirge if we don't have an Arcane Cussing already ready to go. Hit the High Notes becomes incredible. Again, I think I already mentioned this earlier. I think I already mentioned this earlier in the video. But Hit the High Notes is just wild. Yeah, I think I had a whole entire combo lined up that I shared with you guys. And y'all tell me what y'all think. Tell me what you guys think about this. But I still think Shrill of Skullform's the way to go still. Not alone. Now we have a lot of options between Hit the High Notes and Shrill of Skullform. But Shrill of Skullform is just nasty, guys. It's still a 2 for 7. Typically you'd get a 2 for 6 that blocks for 3. This is a 2 for 7. If you created a rune chant or any aura, well, now you're doing even more damage, right? Like that's kind of the idea. It's like, well, now you're just doing even more damage. So it gets better and better and better. And one thing I want to mention is it's like now this list, and notice I'm only running reds and blues, so you can add yellows to the list if you need to. But look at what we have going for us now, guys. We have a 0 cost attack action. We have a 1 cost attack action, a 2 cost attack action, and lastly, a 3 cost attack action now that are very, very relevant. Like these are not, these cards are better than nothing. Let me say it like that. They're very, very strong. They're very solid. Swarming Gloomveil is also just really nasty. And one thing I want to say too, guys, if you have a card in mind that will just go incredible with this kind of play style, please tell me about it. And I also want to know what you guys want to build. Are you guys building more towards the Turtle Burst version of the deck? Or are you building more like this with like the Malvrion Skies style build? This only has 1 red Malvrion Skies in it. But the idea is, okay, Malvrion Skies is very good. And I don't think it got any worse. It's just now we have so many more options to start our turn off with. Because before it was just Malvrion Skies or bust, right? If we didn't, and that's why people would run the red, yellow, and blue, the whole rainbow of Malvrion Skies. Because if you didn't get that card, well, that was your whole turn then. Because most of these cards we're looking at, like Hit the High Notes, Shrill of Skullform, and even Vantage Point, these are not Go Again. These don't have Go Again. So once you play them, that's it. That's that. Well, Malvrion Skies extends out your turn and lets you do more and more. So I do think there's still a reason for us to run Malvrion Skies, and we'll have to see what happens. But at the same time, now we have so many good ways to start our turn off with like an Arcane Cussing into a Deadwood Dirge, these are go again, right? So now you can just smash in with your Shrill Skull form. And like I said, in that specific example, that is a 3 resource investment, what we just said right there, to go Arcane Cussing for 1, Deadwood Dirge is free, Shrill Skull form for 2, and we're coming in for 7 plus 7, and we're creating a rune chant on the way out. It seems good to me. Seems good. Really, really powerful. Okay, what else? I do want to talk about a few more things. Let's talk about Looming Doom for a second. Another build that I would just love to get going is something that's built around Looming Doom and maybe a little bit more of a turtle burst idea, where it's like, okay, I'm just going to do Looming Doom. I'm going to put 10 counters on Looming Doom and pass. And then I'm going to try to make another 10 counters and put out another Looming Doom, maybe search it up with something like Sonata Galaxia, and just go about things that way, where all of a sudden, at the end of their turn, they're taking 4 arcane damage every single turn, and it's not as for one, pings for 1, like normal arcane damage is for Runeblades. No, it's 2 damage pings. So, typically speaking, against a Runeblade, people will only have Arcane Barrier 1, because, like I said, typically speaking, that's all they need. Well, if all of a sudden you drop down a few Looming Dooms on them, or 3 Looming Dooms, now all of a sudden they're taking 6 arcane damage a turn. Again, not damage, like 1 damage pinging, but 2 damage pings, where they can only block 1 of it more than likely. That will add up very quickly, because I'm not saying that's the only thing you should be doing either. You should also be, developing out your turns, stacking as many of these Arcane Cussings plus Deadwood Dirge turns together. Arcane Cussing plus Deadwood Dirge turns together, and then to hit the high notes you can use if you need to. There's just a lot of ideas there, but at the same time, you're probably not going to want to run that with this version of the build we're talking about, with more like the Turtle Burst idea with Looming Doom, because you just want to have one huge attack from something like Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath or Arknight Ascendancy. That's a card with Dominate. Vantage Point's probably not that bad either, to be honest. If you've played or created an aura this turn, this gets Overpower. This cannot be defended by more than 1 action card. So they can defend with other cards, but at the same time, you're going to be swinging in with so many rune chants on top of this. How do they survive it? It becomes very hard for them to survive. So really good stuff there. Let's just bring up a few more things real quick, some things to talk about. I do think, by the way, this is pretty nice. For those who don't already have the, what's it called? The Vexing Quill Hand or the Grasp of the Arknight, they are printing a brand new card, a new arms equipment for Runeblades called Runehold Release. Check this out, guys. Action, destroy this, create a rune chant, go again. Perfect. It's just, it's kind of like a poor man's version of Vexing Quill Hand, because this also has Arcane Barrier 1 on it, and it creates 2 rune chants. Really good stuff there. Another card to consider as well, since we're going to be creating so many rune chants now, I think would be Amplify the Arknight, because this ends up being a 0 cost deal 6. So that is another card that I think we should be adding to the mix, where, I mean, maybe, honestly, in a deck list like this might sound crazy, guys. Hear me out. Let me go, cards, here we go. Maybe in this list, Swarming Gloomveil is not even, like, I mean, we can just, sorry guys, I'm like completely like reclined back in my chair right now. I know, I'm just getting comfortable. But Swarming Gloomveil is an incredible card. However, what would you rather have? A 0 for 3 with, a 0 for 4 that blocks for 3 with Go Again, or a 0 for 6 that blocks for 3 and it does not have Go Again? So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think maybe we should just run both, right? Like, I don't think we get rid of Swarming Gloomveil because it has so much utility. But at the same time, like I was saying, if you look over here at the Amplify the Arknight, in this list, I think we're going to be able to create so many rune chants now that, like, maybe this card becomes like just 3 of the red one, because now we can end up having, like, how do I say this? If we have enough rune chants stacked up, we can just have a 1 card 0 for 9 basically. Right, 9 or more. Because if this costs 0, then you have at least 3 rune chants. You might have many more. So it becomes this 0, pop, just go at them like that. And another card to consider, like I said, was the Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath and the Arknight Ascendancy. Let me go to the next page. Here it is at the top. Arknight Ascendancy, this could be very powerful as well. Pause and read this, but let's just say it has Dominate, and it's going to be completely free if you have 5 or more rune chance. And the other thing that's nice about this is if this hits, you get to create even more rune chance. But who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if there becomes a hybrid Turtle Burst version that's like part Turtle Burst, part combo with your attack actions and non-attack actions. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that comes up. Now that we have cards like the Incantation, the new Incantation, Malefic Incantation, Hit the High Notes, Deadwood Dirge, Arcane Cussing. There's just so much new cool stuff that we're going to be able to do. I also just really like this card, guys. Not even the art. I'm not even, not saying the art's bad. I'm not even a huge fan of the art. I just think this card's incredible. It's a 3-cost attack for 7, block for 3 with Overpower. And I know a lot of people might be thinking, yeah, that's not as good as Dominate. Okay, sure, that's fine. Maybe it's not as good as Dominate. However, it's still really strong. And if they're going to fully block this attack out, okay, that was 3 cards, right? Or 2 cards if one's like a defense reaction, or a bunch of some 1 or 2 cards from hand, and then maybe like 1 or 2 equipments from the field. Either way, I'm taking it, right? Either way, I'm okay with that. And if we can combo that with something like a Malvereon Skies and follow up with the 0-cost, where did it go? The 0-cost Swarming Gloomveil. Sure. Absolutely, because then that would be like, deal 7 plus whatever, and then coming in for 4 plus whatever for rune chance. So, because like I said, if this hits, think about if you went Malvereon Skies Vantage Point. If this thing hits, we're getting 3 more rune chance, and now we're coming in with a Swarming Gloomveil plus whatever. So there's a lot of potential there. I have a lot of testing to do, let me tell you right now, because there are cards I want to mess with now more than ever. Cards I didn't even really care for in the past. Cards I didn't really actually care for. Like Consuming Volition. It's not that I ever thought this was a bad card, but look at this, guys. If you've dealt or deal arcane damage this turn, this gains. If this hits a hero, they discard a card. It costs 1, it deals 4, and makes them potentially trash a card. Or discard a card. That's really, really strong. Now, this Condemn to Slaughter is a new card coming out. The red one is really interesting, especially with the card we were just looking at with Arknight Ascendancy. Okay, this says, if Arknight Ascendancy hits, create X rune chant tokens where X is the damage dealt by the Arknight Ascendancy. Not the rune chants that are coming in with it, but the actual physical attack itself. Okay, Condemn to Slaughter. This costs 1, and now our next Runeblade attack attack this turn gets +3, and you may destroy an aura you control, and if you do, each opponent destroys an aura permanent they control. So that's actually very strong tech built into that. Really cool stuff there. We're going to look at a few more. I think Drowning Dire might be very interesting now as well. It's a 2-cost, attacks for 5, blocks for 3. If you've played or created an aura this turn, it gets Dominate. So, Dominate, the defending hero can't defend Drowning Dire with more than 1 card from their hand. And when Drowning Dire hits, you may put a non-attack action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. A non-attack action card. So maybe we'll add another, what's this card called? Deadwood Dirge or Arcane Cussing. Maybe we'll add one of those back to the bottom of the deck. Or maybe one of these, well, hang on. Does this? So Sonata Arcanix, you have to shuffle your deck and banish Sonata Arcanix. But it looks like Sonata Galaxia we can get back, right? This costs 1 less to play for each rune chain you control. Search your deck for a Runeblade aura with cost X or less. Put it into the arena, then shuffle, and then if X is 2 or more, this gets go again. So we could actually snag one of these from our trash if we need to, or from our discard, whatever. We have a lot of options. Another Mordred Tide, another Malvereon, whatever we're trying to do. It depends. This is a generic action. Let me see something. You may put a non-attack action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. That'd be kind of interesting if we put back a Gorganian Tome if we already had one. But I don't know. I just really like this card. I'm not going to lie, guys. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this card. Okay, there are a lot of other cards we need to go through. Like I said, we're not going to go through all of them in today's video. But this is another card we have to consider. This is basically a 0 for 4 that blocks for 3. It does not have go again, but look at this. When this attacks, create a rune chant token. So think about it. Excuse me. If you played this out for 0, in an attack for 3, you're creating a rune chant. And if you followed up this turn, if you followed this up with another card this turn, like, something like a Gorganian Tome, or something like a Maw of Round Skies, or an Arcane Cussing, or a Dirge, whatever we did before. Well, now all of a sudden, we're coming in for 3 plus whatever rune chant. Well, actually, not plus. Excuse me. So we'll be coming in for 3, and then we create a rune chant for playing this card and for its effect. So really good stuff. Oath of the Arknight's kind of interesting. See, now we have a better version of this, and I'm glad they chose to print excuse me, Condemn to Slaughter, because okay, you're paying 1 to get the +3 effect, right? Like that's very strong. It does block 3. It has go again. There's not a lot of like huge downsides to this card. Bequest the Vast Beyond. This is interesting. So the next Runeblade attack action card you play this turn costs 1 less to play for each rune chant you control. So now it's like, well, I don't know. I think we're going to create so many now that cards like Arknight Ascendancy are just going to be free for us most of the time, if not every time. And the same thing with the 9-cost 9th Blade of the Blood Oath. Really good stuff there. Read the Runes, or excuse me, Read the Runes. I was looking at Read the Runes right here, and I was reading Rattlebones. Rattlebones right here, guys. This is interesting, right? Banish target Runeblade attack action card from your graveyard, and then you may play it this turn. And then let's not worry about the second part. But the thing is this: like if we already, got a lot of value out of something like a Hit the High Notes, well, now we can just play it again, right? Or maybe even something like a where did it go? It was the red. Here it is. The Swarming Gloomveil. We could get some more value from that as well. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff there. But I will say that like Rattlebones does cost 2. But I don't know if we'll have. I don't even know if we'll have enough room in the deck to run something like this now, guys. If we start adding some of these new cards, how much room will we have in the list to even run some of these new cards? I can't wait to try this whole setup. Because what I really want to do is I want to get like these incantation auras down, and kind of like get some looming dooms going. And then kind of just block out pretty efficiently, like with some of these cards like Shrill, Reduce, not Mordred Tide. We're not blocking with that card. We're going to have to use that one. But you guys get my point. And then just kind of setting up for a Looming Doom, right? Just setting up for Looming Dooms and just stack the board with them, and maybe even search up all of them with Sonata Galaxia. Like whatever Looming Doom we get at least 5 rune chants popped on there, so it ends up doing 10 damage. Sonata Galaxia to search up the rest of them, and just start going about things that way. Actually, I do want to know, I know there's like some type of stipulation. So this says search your deck for a Runeblade aura with cost X or less, and then put it into the arena, then shuffle. And if X is 2 or greater, 2 or more, this gets go again. This says when Looming Doom enters the arena, destroy all rune chants you control and put that many doom counters on Looming Doom. Excuse me. And let me see something else. The Incantation. I think one of these auras like didn't work with the Sonata Galaxia. You guys tell me if you know. Enters the arena with 3 verse counters on it. Enters the arena with 3 verse counters on it. Yeah, I'm not sure, guys. You guys will have to help me out down in the comment section below. But I feel like I read something one time or heard something about how the Sonata Galaxia doesn't work with some of the auras. Okay, search your deck for a Runeblade aura with cost X or less, put it into the arena. Okay, and these all say when they enter the arena. Excuse me. Runeblood Incantation enters the arena with 3 verse counters. When Looming Doom enters the arena, destroy all rune chants you control. And do the effect. Malefic Incantation. This enters the arena with 3 verse counters. Arcane Cussing. When you... well, this just has when this leaves the arena. Create 3. Alright, I'm done, guys. I'm just rambling at this point. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. We might be able to run something like Revel and Runeblood. Rune Flash might be very strong in this list. It's just a 0 for 4. Blocks for 3. Go again. Very solid. Let me just go through all the red cards at least. Oh, another card to talk about. This other Deadwood card. The Splintering Deadwood. 3 cost. Attack for 7. Block for 3. When this attacks or hits, you may destroy an aura you control, and if you do, create a rune chant token. Very, very strong. Lot of options coming out, guys. We've got so many cards to talk about, so many different options, so many different possibilities. Rune Rager Swarm. This is basically a 0 for 3 go again, and if you're swinging with this, you're creating rune chance, popping rune chance, so it ends up being even bigger than what it says. Really good stuff. All right, I'm done talking for now, guys. This list is not complete yet. This is just a first draft, a rough draft of what I want to do with this list. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. What direction do you want to build your Viserai deck? Are you trying to build it more like, you know, Malvrion Skies style, where you're comboing auras, you know, excuse me, non-attacks with attacks? Or are you trying to go more with the Turtle Burst style, where you pretty much just, you know, build up rune chance after rune chance, rune chance, and rune chance, and then just pop them all at one time where your opponent can't get out of them in time, just for going for an OTK, like Turtle Burst style deck? All right, hope you guys enjoyed. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys, and yeah, until next time, peace.